This is Mark Washington for MTC Media with your betting guide to Usy-Joshua 2. The rematch is Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time here in the United States on the Zone. So we are always influenced by what we saw last, which is why um, the odds at BetMGM probably look the way it does, even though for me it's still somewhat surprising. If you look at it, the fight from a two-way results, Usyk is minus 190, Joshua is plus 140. And to get Anthony Joshua in a fight like this as an underdog, I mean, it's really, really tempting. On the three-way, it is Usyk minus 175, Joshua plus 150, with a tie being plus 2,000. But one of the things I'm looking at is the method of victory. Usyk by KO, TKO, technical decision or DQ is plus 175. Usyk on points is plus 220. Joshua KO, TKO, technical decision or disqualification is plus 225. Anthony Joshua winning by points is plus 700, with a tie being plus 2,000. Again, Joshua, if you look at Joshua's rematch with Ruiz, he fought a very conservative fight in many, many ways. And with the way these two match up, if Joshua wins this fight, it could be a situation where he is looking to win by points, changing his strategy, being more active, and winning on points as opposed to trying to make this an out and out slugfest against Usyk. Again, Joshua's a two-time champion getting plus 700 in a rematch on points. That is tempting. If you think that Joshua will win this fight, that is a tempting number to take. Now, granted, if you want to go like Deontay Wilder, who said that he felt like Usyk, if by his heart, he feels like Usyk should win. And to be honest, if you look at live boxing experts, not only are so many of them picking Usyk, so many of them are picking him to win even easier than he won the first time when he won by unanimous decision and was really only close on one scorecard. There was a 115, 113 scorecard. And I had scored at 115, 113 for Usyk also. And to tell you how tenuous that is, if you gave Usyk rounds 10, 11, and 12, if you flip any of those rounds, you're at a draw. If you flip two of those three rounds, if Joshua can flip two of those three rounds, he wins on that scorecard. So, yes, Usyk did look very good in that fight, but he looked very good at the beginning. He looked very good at the end. And in the middle, Joshua had looked like he had figured some things out. But in the end, it looked like Joshua was one who had worn down, and Usyk got his second win in those championship rounds, and not Joshua. Joshua looked spent. So my thing is, my advice on the betting is, if you do think that Usyk is going to win, take Usyk on points plus 220. I know Joshua has had a propensity to get knocked down. I know how the first Ruiz fight ended, but I just don't think in a rematch that he's going to allow himself to be knocked out or TKO or anything. I see that if he loses, that it would be on the cards. That might be a wider margin, but on the cards. So if you're a Usyk guy or a Usyk gal, however you put it, if you're a Usyk gambler, plus 220 to me is your best rate. If you're for Joshua, I mean, you might want to take both, really. I mean, you have to take Joshua at plus 700 on points, and then take Joshua plus 150 in the three-way and Joshua plus 140 in the two-way. If you're going to bet Joshua, I mean, throw the bone at it. And even if you think he'll knock him out, take the 225 combined with the 150 and the 140. I mean, you have to. How many times you going to get Anthony Joshua, unless he's fighting someone like a Tyson Fury? How many times are you going to get Anthony Joshua at this rate? On top of that, there's going to be no one who's going to be rooting for Anthony Joshua more than Deontay Wilder, because if Deontay Wilder can win his fight on October 15th, you best believe we go into 2023 asking and more than likely getting a Joshua Wilder matchup. And how great would that be, especially if that was fought in England? So this is Marcus Washington from MTC Media. That is your betting guide for Usy-Joshua. Hey, this is Mark Swanson, MTC Media, with your keys for Anthony Joshua in his rematch with Usyk. Now, we all know the first fight, Usyk pulls off the upset, takes all the belts, won in unanimous decision, 117, 111, 116, 112, 115, 113. Anthony Joshua made some mistakes that are very, very correctable for this second fight. So we're going to start with get off to a better start. Basically, Joshua probably won one of the first four rounds. He really wasn't active. He followed Usyk around the ring. He allowed Usyk to get comfortable, which was a big, big mistake. That left hand found a home early and often against AJ, as frequently he stood, sometimes straight up and down, right in front of Usyk, thinking that maybe his power would offset all of Usyk's points build up. As we see with hindsight, that did not happen. So one of the keys is to get off to a better start. Second, the body was available to Joshua the entire fight. Usyk did a great job of getting his head off of the line. So the place where to attack him is at the body. Joshua did that in spurts in the middle rounds where he looked so much better. He got to Usyk's body. He wasn't head hunting, had some success. And then later in the fight, he ended up just not going back to the body once again, trying to get back to the head. It did not work once Usyk got that second win late in the rounds. And that's why Usyk looked so dominant late in the fight, especially in the 11th and 12th round. Last but not least, Anthony Joshua needs to do a better job at controlling the real estate. I felt like he followed Usyk around way too much, allowing Usyk really to set the tenor of the fight, not only at the beginning when he wanted to fight fast, but at the end when he wanted to close the show. Joshua was not able to do enough during the middle rounds to wear down Usyk late. So that's the other thing. Get off fast. Go to the body more. That would have taken away from Usyk's second win in those championships, 10th, 11th, and 12th rounds. So again, Saturday, remember now, Eastern time at Saturday at 5 o'clock, because this is being fought in Saudi Arabia, we have the heavyweight rematch between Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua. This is Mark Schwartz from MTC Media, taking a look at the rematch between Usyk and Joshua on Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern time, with their keys for Usyk. Now, he won the first fight by unanimous decision, at times looking like he was overwhelming Anthony Joshua, probably had him hurt a couple of times too. And it all was going to start off with the first key, which was the key to the first fight, which was that lead left hand. Usyk had surprising success early on and late with the left hand that Joshua never seemed to adjust to. We did see the middle rounds, Usyk didn't throw it as much. He came back to it in the late rounds to close the show, but it was really early on where it seemed to stun Joshua that Usyk had not only the success with that punch, but somewhat some power with that punch. So, hey, got to keep pumping that left hand. The second fight, the way that you pumped it in the first fight. The second thing was Usyk did a great job of getting off first, something that wasn't talked about enough. He controlled the tenor of the fight because he continuously made Joshua fight at his pace on his terms by going out first, getting off first. And Joshua was always trying to adjust to what Usyk is doing. Usyk has to set the table again, continue to get off first, which leads into the last key for him, which is real estate. If you notice throughout that fight, Usyk did a great job at controlling the real estate. When he wanted to fight inside, he got inside with Joshua. When he didn't want to fight inside, he used movement and angles to keep Joshua at times just staring, just following him around, not throwing punches. I can understand that Joshua was trying to be economical and effective with his punches and not just throwing for the sake of throwing them, but for the most part, with the exception of those middle rounds where Joshua had some success, even Usyk was having Joshua throw punches on Usyk's terms, and that was a big key. So again, this fight is at 7. Remember, it's at Saudi Arabia. It is on Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Those were your keys for Alexander Usyk and his rematch with Anthony Joshua.